The air in Veridian, Seattle's most exclusive restaurant, turned to ice in a single moment. Waiters froze their trays, trembling. Diners paused, forks hovering over plates. The soft jazz from the pianists. Fingers stumbled into silence, all eyes locked on the corner table where Nathan Pierce, a billionaire known for his ruthless tech empire, towered over a trembling waitress. His voice boomed sharp and unrelenting, tearing into her for a minor delay. "You call this service? I could buy this place and fire you all in a heartbeat." The room held its breath, waiting for someone to move, to speak, to break the tension. Then Emma Carter, a 28-year-old single mother with nothing but grit and a 7-year-old's dreams to protect, looked him in the eye. Her voice steady and clear, cut through the silence with a single sentence that would echo far beyond those walls. "If stories like this speak to you, hit the like button and subscribe. There's more to come, because what happened next wasn't just a moment. It was a spark that set a city ablaze. Emma's words didn't just challenge a billionaire. They changed her life and rippled through countless others. No one, not even Emma, could have predicted the firestorm that followed, or the unlikely allies who'd rally to her side. In that moment, the dining room felt like a stage where time itself had paused. Nathan Pierce's face twisted, his eyes narrowing as if no one had ever dared speak back to him. Emma stood tall, her heart pounding, but her gaze unwavering. She was no stranger to hardship, years of juggling 2 jobs, dodging eviction notices, and soothing her daughter. Lily's endless questions about why they couldn't afford dance classes had hardened her resolve. Yet here, in Veridian's polished elegance, surrounded by Seattle's elite, she felt the weight of every eye on her. The billionaire's tirade had been about a late appetizer, a trivial slight in a world where his wealth could buy entire city blocks. But to Emma, it was more. It was every dismissive customer, every unpaid bill, every time she'd bitten her tongue to keep this job. Her words hung in the air, a quiet rebellion that felt louder than Nathan's shouts. "You can have all the money in the world, sir, but it doesn't buy respect." The restaurant seemed to exhale all at once. A few diners gasped, a woman at a nearby table clapped softly, then another joined until a ripple of applause spread through the room. Nathan's face reddened, his jaw tight. "You'll regret this," he spat, tossing a stack of $100 bills onto the table like an afterthought. He stormed out, his assistant and bodyguards trailing behind, leaving a stunned silence in their wake. Emma's hands shook as she gathered the plates, her mind racing. Had she just thrown away her job, her daughter's future, the tips that kept their tiny apartment's lights on? But beneath the fear, a spark of pride flickered. For once, she hadn't bowed her head. She'd spoken a truth that had been buried too long. Veridian's staff buzzed with whispers as Emma slipped into the kitchen. The head chef, Marianne Voss, caught her eye with a mix of worry and admiration. "You okay, Emma?" she asked, her voice low. Emma nodded, though her throat was tight. "I don't know what came over me. I just couldn't take it anymore." Marianne squeezed her shoulder. "You said what we've all wanted to say at some point, but brace yourself. This might not end here." Emma stepped outside to the alley, the cool Seattle night air hitting her face like a wake-up call. She leaned against the brick wall, her breath visible in the dim glow of a street lamp. Her phone buzzed in her apron pocket. A text from her co-worker, Lena. "Check Twitter. You're trending." Emma's stomach dropped. Trending. She opened the app, her fingers trembling, and saw it. A shaky video of Nathan's outburst, and her response already racking up thousands of retweets. Comments poured in. "That waitress is a hero." Nathan Pierce got what he deserved. But there were others too. "She's out of line." "Servers should know their place." The world was watching, and Emma wasn't sure she was ready for it. Back inside, the manager, Daniel Hayes, pulled her aside. "Emma, we need to talk about what happened." His tone was gentle but serious. "Mr. Pierce is a big name. This could get messy." Emma's heart sank. Am I fired? Daniel shook his head. Not yet. The owners want to meet tomorrow. For now, finish your shift. Well, handle the rest. Emma nodded, her mind spinning as she returned to her tables. The anniversary couple she'd served earlier slipped her an extra tip, whispering, "You're braver than most." A businessman at another table nodded in silent approval. But the weight of what she'd done clung to her. As she wiped down tables at closing, she thought of Lily asleep in their cramped Capitol Hill apartment, dreaming of pirouettes she couldn't yet afford. Would this moment cost them everything? Or had Emma, in one fleeting act of courage, set something bigger in motion? The night ended with no answers, only the hum of a city that had no idea how much her words would soon shake it. Emma Carter's life was a balancing act, one she'd learned to navigate with quiet determination. Every morning she woke at 5 a.m. in their one-bedroom apartment, the radiator hissing as she brewed cheap coffee. Lily, her 7-year-old daughter, slept behind a makeshift curtain, her corner filled with crayon drawings of ballerinas and far-off places they'd visit someday. Emma's days were a blur, mornings teaching dance to kids at a community center, evenings serving at Veridian, Seattle's crown jewel of fine dining. The restaurant, perched atop a sleek downtown tower, was a haven for tech moguls and celebrities, its Pacific Northwest-inspired menu drawing crowds who thought nothing of dropping $500 on dinner. Emma had jumped at the job knowing a single night's tips could cover Lily's school supplies or chip away at her student loans, but Veridian demanded perfection. Emma arrived 2 hours early, each shift polishing wine glasses until they sparkled under the chandeliers, memorizing the day's specials down to the origin of the oysters. The staff wore tailored black uniforms, moving like dancers in a choreography of service. Head chef Marianne Voss, a legend who'd trained in Paris, ran the kitchen like a general, her sharp eyes missing nothing. One wrong move, a mispronounced wine, a slightly tilted plate could mean a guest's complaint or a missed tip. Emma thrived on the challenge, finding a strange joy in the rhythm of it all. It's like a dance, she'd tell herself, each step deliberate, each smile practiced but warm. Her charm won over guests, tech bros closing deals, couples celebrating milestones, tourists chasing luxury. Her first big tip, $250 from a software CEO, went straight into Lily's dance fund, a jar labeled Ballerina Dreams. Outside Veridian, Emma's world was smaller, humbler. Their apartment was a shoebox, the kitchen too tiny for 2 people to stand in at once. Lily's laughter filled it, though, turning cramped spaces into home. Emma stretched every dollar, skipping meals to ensure Lily had enough. She dreamed of giving her daughter a life beyond scraping by, where dance lessons weren't a luxury but a given. Veridian felt like a lifeline, a chance to climb out of debt and into stability. She'd faced worse. Lily's father walking out when she was pregnant, years of late-night shifts and judgmental stares. Yet Emma never let it break her. She taught Lily to hold her head high, to dream big, despite their circumstances. That Saturday, as Emma tied her apron, the restaurant hummed with anticipation. The maître d' whispered about a VIP, someone big enough to make the staff sweat. Marianne was in overdrive, inspecting every plate like it was a work of art. Emma's section was routine. 4, a couple on their 25th anniversary table. 5, a quiet professor buried in a book table. 6, a group of venture capitalists. She moved with ease, delivering amuse-bouches with a smile, her mind half on Lily's latest drawing, a ballerina in a purple tutu. Then came the chaos. A waiter. Tom slipped in the kitchen, a tray of champagne flutes crashing to the floor. He twisted his ankle, leaving table 9, the VIP table, without a server. Daniel's eyes landed on Emma. "You're up," he said. Her pulse quickened. She wasn't assigned to table 9, but at Veridian you didn't argue. Not with a guest who could tip enough to change your month. Emma steeled herself. smoothing her apron as she approached the corner table. Nathan Pierce sat there, his presence commanding the room. At 42, he was a tech titan, his predictive algorithms powering everything from stock trades to surveillance systems. The media painted him as brilliant but brutal, a man who valued efficiency over empathy. His tailored charcoal suit and sleek Patek Philippe watch screamed wealth, but his cold gray eyes unsettled her. Beside him sat his associate James Holt, a wiry man in his 30s, and two bodyguards loomed at nearby tables, their earpieces glinting. Emma took a breath, her voice steady. "Good evening, gentlemen. Welcome to Veridian. I'm Emma, and I'll be taking care of you tonight. May I offer our signature cocktails or the wine list?" Nathan barely glanced up from his phone. "Wine list, now, and make it quick." His tone was sharp, like he was addressing a machine, not a person. Emma nodded, ignoring the knot in her stomach, and hurried to fetch it. This was her world grit grace and the quiet strength to keep going, no matter who sat at her table. The dining room pulsed with energy, a delicate balance of clinking glasses and murmured conversations. Veridian's sleek design floor-to-ceiling windows, overlooking Seattle's skyline, cedar accents, and soft lighting, created an air of effortless luxury. Emma moved through it like a seasoned performer. Her steps measured her smile, unwavering. Her tables were under control. The anniversary couple beamed over their salmon tartare. The professor nodded thanks for a refill, and the venture capitalists laughed over a bottle of Pinot Noir. But Table 9 loomed like a storm cloud. Nathan Pierce's presence seemed to charge the air, his impatience radiating even as he typed furiously on his phone. James Holt offered a tight smile, trying to ease the tension, but Nathan's focus never wavered from his screen. Emma returned with the wine list, her voice calm. "We have a 2002 Riesling from the Columbia Valley, a rare vintage with notes of stone fruit and a crisp finish. Chef Voss recommends it for tonight's specials." Nathan tossed the list aside without looking. "Fine, bring it. And don't bother with anything under $500 a bottle." His words were clipped, dismissive, as if her effort was an inconvenience. Emma nodded, her face neutral, and headed to the cellar. Shed dealt with demanding guests, before tech moguls who snapped orders, heiresses who sent back plates for no reason. But Nathan's aura was different. It was heavy, like he carried the weight of his billions in every glance. She presented the bottle, poured a sample, and held her breath. Nathan sipped, gave a curt nod, and waved her off. So far, so good. When she began describing the special chalibut with miso glaze, Wagyu with black garlic, Nathan cut her off. "Enough with the script. I'll take the Wagyu rare, no garnish sauce on the side. Truffle fries, not mashed, move it. I've got a deal to close." James ordered a bouillabaisse, his voice soft, almost apologetic. "Thank you, Emma." She nodded, retreating to the kitchen where Marianne was a whirlwind, barking orders to ensure every plate was flawless. Emma relayed Nathan's demands, noting Marianne's scowl at the no-garnish request. Veridian's plates were art, each sprig of microgreens placed with precision. But Nathan's word was law tonight. As Emma checked on her other tables, the dining room's rhythm faltered. Whispers spread about the VIP at Table 9. A busboy muttered about Nathan's reputation, how he'd once fired an entire team over a delayed project. Emma pushed the gossip aside, focusing on her routine. She refilled the couple's champagne, answered a question about dessert pairings, and cleared a plate from the professor's table. But her eyes kept drifting to Nathan, who leaned toward James, his voice low but intense, discussing numbers in the millions. The bodyguards scanned the room, their presence a reminder of his power. When the kitchen bell rang, Emma collected Nathan's Wagyu and James's bouillabaisse. The steak glistened, seared to a perfect rare, the sauce in a sleek ramekin. The fries were golden, dusted with truffle. She set the plates down with care. "Enjoy your meal, gentlemen." Nathan didn't acknowledge her, slicing into the steak as if she didn't exist. James offered a quiet thanks, his eyes darting to Nathan. For a moment, Emma thought she'd cleared the hurdle. Then Nathan's fork stopped. He pushed the plate away, his face darkening. "Waitress," he barked loud enough to turn heads. Emma approached, her pulse racing. "Yes, sir. This steak is raw, not rare. Do you even know the difference, or is this place just pretending to be high-end?" His voice carried sharp and accusing. Emma swallowed, knowing Marianne's precision was beyond reproach. "I'm so sorry, sir. I can have the kitchen adjust it to your liking." Nathan laughed, cold and mocking. "Adjust it? I shouldn't have to spell out basic competence. I'm paying a fortune to eat here, and you can't even get a steak right." The room grew quieter, diners glancing over, some pretending not to notice. Emma's cheeks burned, but she kept her voice steady. "I'll take care of it right away, sir." As she turned to leave, Nathan's voice rose, addressing the room. "This is what passes for service in a place like this. I could buy this restaurant and replace every one of you with people who know what they're doing." The words stung, each one a jab at Emma's pride, her years of scraping by her sacrifices for Lily. She paused, her hands trembling around the plate. Something snapped, not anger but clarity. She'd swallowed insults before, but this was different. This was public, personal, and cruel. She turned back, her eyes locking with Nathan's. The room held its breath, waiting for her to crumble. Instead, she stood taller, her voice about to change everything. Emma's heart thundered, but her voice was calm, slicing through the tension like a blade. "You can have all the money in the world, sir, but it doesn't buy respect." The words landed like a thunderclap, silencing Veridian's dining room. Nathan Pierce froze, his eyes widening in disbelief. No one spoke to him like this. Not employees, not rivals, not even the media who chased his every move. Diners stared, some with jaws dropped, others with faint smiles. The pianist's hands hovered over the keys, the melody abandoned. Even the bodyguards shifted, unsure whether to act. Emma stood her ground, her apron slightly wrinkled, her posture defiant. She'd spent years absorbing slights, smiling through exhaustion, but tonight something had broken free. Nathan's face flushed crimson. "What did you say?" His voice was low, dangerous. Emma didn't flinch. "I said you can't buy respect, sir. It's earned, not purchased." The room seemed to hold its breath, every guest and staff member caught in the gravity of her words. A woman at table 4 clapped once, tentative, then another joined until a soft wave of applause rolled through the dining room. Not everyone clapped. Some looked away, uncomfortable, but the sound was enough to make Nathan's jaw tighten. "You're done," he hissed. "You have no idea who you're talking to. I'll make sure this place never sees another dime from anyone who matters." He threw a wad of cash onto the table far, more than the bill, and stood his chair, scraping loudly. James Holt scrambled to follow, muttering apologies to no one in particular. The bodyguards flanked them, and Nathan stormed out, the glass doors swinging shut behind him. Emma stood frozen, the weight of her actions crashing over her. The applause faded, replaced by murmurs. Diners whispered to each other, some stealing glances at her, others returning to their meals. Her hands shook as she cleared the table, the scattered bills feeling like a taunt. Had she just thrown away her job, Lily's dance lessons, their fragile stability? She slipped into the kitchen where Marianne met her with wide eyes. "That was bold, Emma. I don't know whether to hug you or brace for the fallout." Emma forced a weak smile. "I didn't plan it. It just came out." Marianne nodded. "Go take a breather." "Well, cover your tables." In the alley behind Veridian, Emma leaned against the cold brick, the Seattle skyline glittering in the distance. Her phone buzzed relentlessly, texts from Lena. Her co-worker, "You're viral, check your phone." Now Emma's stomach churned as she opened Twitter. The video was everywhere. Nathan's tirade, her response, the applause. "Respect not bought" trended alongside her name. Comments flooded in "She's a queen." Pierce is a bully, but others stung fire her. She's just a waitress. The world was watching, and Emma felt exposed, vulnerable. She thought of Lily asleep in their apartment, unaware her mother's life was unraveling or perhaps remaking itself. Back inside, Daniel pulled her aside, his face grim. Emma, that was reckless. Nathan Pierce could tank this place with a single call. I get why you did it, but the owners are going to have questions. Emma's throat tightened. Am I out? Daniel sighed. Not yet. They want a meeting tomorrow. For now, keep your head down and finish your shift. Emma nodded, returning to her tables with a forced smile. The anniversary couple slipped her a 50 bill. You're an inspiration, the wife whispered. The professor looked up from his book. Well done, young lady. But the praise felt hollow against the fear of what came next. As she locked up that night, the city's lights seemed brighter, sharper, like they were watching her too. Emma boarded the bus home, her mind replaying the moment she'd stood up to a titan. She'd spoken for herself, for Lily, for every server who'd ever been belittled, but at what cost? The answer waited in the morning, when the world would decide what her words were worth. Emma woke to her phone buzzing like an angry hive. It was 6 a.m., too early for Sunday, but the screen glowed with notifications, texts, missed calls, social media tags. Her heart raced as she scrolled. Friends, co-workers, even strangers had messaged her. You're everywhere. That was epic. Call me. The video of her stand against Nathan Pierce had exploded, racking up millions of views. Hashtags like Respect Not Bought and Veridian Hero dominated Twitter. Some called her a legend, others a fool who'd bitten the hand that fed her. Emma's hands trembled as she read, she was no activist, just a mom trying to pay rent. Now the world had her name, her face, her words. She thought of Lily still asleep, and panic gripped her. What if this cost her everything? She made pancakes, forcing normalcy, as Lily bounced into the kitchen. Can we put sprinkles in them, Mommy? Emma smiled, her voice tight. Anything for you, kiddo. Her phone kept buzzing, but she ignored it, focusing on Lily's chatter about dance class. After dropping Lily at her friend Sarah's, Emma headed to Veridian for an emergency staff meeting. Outside, reporters swarmed, microphones thrusting toward her. Are you the waitress who took down Nathan Pierce? What's your next move? Emma ducked past her heart, pounding, until Daniel ushered her inside. The private dining room was packed. Chefs, servers, bartenders, all eyes on her. The tension was thick like the air before a storm. Claire Thornton, Veridian's owner, stood at the front, her presence commanding. In her 50s, with sharp green eyes and a tailored blazer, she radiated authority. Thank you for coming, she began. Last night's incident has put Veridian in the spotlight. We need to address it as a team. She turned to Emma Carter. Please step forward. Emma's stomach twisted as she approached. Feeling every gaze, Claire's voice softened. Emma, your response to Mr. Pierce's behavior sparked a conversation about dignity in our industry. We don't condone public confrontations, but we also don't tolerate abuse of our staff. You're not fired. In fact, we're proud to stand by you. Relief flooded Emma, though fear lingered. Thank you, Ms. Thornton. I didn't mean to cause trouble. I just couldn't stay silent. Claire nodded. We've consulted our legal team. Pierce may make threats, but public sentiment is with you. For now, direct all media inquiries to our PR team. The staff murmured some clapping softly. Emma returned to her seat, her mind reeling. She'd kept her job, but the world outside was still watching. That afternoon, Daniel approached her after her shift. Someone's here to see you. Says he's a friend of Claire's. Emma followed her breath, catching when she saw him at the bar. Satya Nadella, Microsoft's CEO, unassuming in a sweater and jeans. He smiled warmly. Emma, I heard about last night. I wanted to meet you. Your courage reminded me that wealth doesn't excuse cruelty. Emma blinked, stunned. Mr. Nadella, I thank you. I was just doing my job. He chuckled. You did more than that. You spoke a truth that's been ignored too long. Claire and I are discussing a project to support service workers. Your story could inspire it. Emma's head spun. She was nobody special yet. Here was a tech icon praising her. As he left, slipping out a side door to avoid reporters, Emma felt a flicker of hope. Maybe her words had started something bigger than she'd ever imagined. Weeks later, Veridian hosted a private event. Its dining room transformed with soft lighting and tables of industry leaders, activists, and a few celebrities. The occasion was the launch of Respect Rising, a foundation to advocate for service workers, rights, better protections, anti-harassment training, a voice for the invisible. Emma stood at the microphone, her black server's uniform swapped for a simple navy dress, her hands trembling. She wasn't used to this public speaking attention, the weight of a room full of powerful people. Satya Nadella stood near Claire, his nod. Encouraging Emma took a breath, her voice steadying. Good evening. A month ago, I was just a waitress trying to give my daughter a better life. One night, one sentence changed everything. I told a man who thought wealth gave him power over people that respect can't be bought. I didn't expect the world to hear me, but they did. I'm no hero. I'm a mom, a server, a dancer at heart. But I've learned that one moment of courage can spark something bigger. If we can build a world where no server, barista, or cleaner feels powerless, we've done something real, something lasting. The room erupted in applause, warm and genuine. Emma stepped back, her legs shaky but her heart full. Guests approached her, offering handshakes and words of admiration. A chef in his 60s clasped her hand. You reminded me why I love this industry. People, not just plates. A young actress, once a server herself, hugged her. I wish I'd had your guts back then. Emma smiled, overwhelmed but grounded by their support. At the bar, Satya approached, his smile kind. That was powerful. Emma, have you thought about our offer? Claire and I want you as an ambassador for Respect Rising, part-time, flexible, so you can still be with your daughter. Emma's breath caught. It was a chance to make a difference, to secure a future for Lily, but it terrified her. I'm honored, she said. I've never done anything like this. I'm not a speaker or an activist. Satya's eyes crinkled. You already are, Emma. You just don't see it yet. Talk it over with your family. The offer's open. As he left, Claire joined her, beaming. You were incredible tonight. Well, send details about the role. No pressure, but you're a natural, Emma. Nodded, her mind racing. She thought of Lily, of the dance jar of the nights. She'd cried over bills. Could she step into this new world and still be the mom Lily needed back home? Emma tucked Lily into bed, kissing her forehead. The apartment felt smaller tonight, but warmer, filled with possibility. Her phone pinged an email from Claire outlining the Respect Rising role, speaking engagements, workshops, a salary that could replace her tips. She set the phone down, staring at Lily's drawings on the wall. That night at Veridian, she'd stood up for herself, for every worker who'd been belittled. Now the world was asking her to keep speaking. She didn't have all the answers, but she felt a shift inside her, a quiet strength she hadn't known she possessed. As weeks passed, Emma noticed changes. Customers at Veridian recognized her, some leaving notes with their tips. You're an inspiration. Keep fighting. The media frenzy faded, but Respect Rising gained traction, with articles praising its mission. Emma kept working her shifts, teaching dance and weighing the offer. She talked to Lily, explaining in simple terms. I told someone to be kind, and now people want me to tell others too. Lily grinned. Like a superhero. Emma laughed. Maybe a little. The decision loomed, but for the first time Emma felt she could choose her path, not just survive it. Her words had started a movement, and she was ready to see where it led. Emma sat on her couch, the Seattle rain tapping against the window. Lily slept soundly, her dreams filled with twirls and leaps. The apartment was still cramped, still cluttered with crayons and dance shoes, but it felt like a sanctuary. Emma's phone lay silent. The media storm now a distant hum. She thought back to that night at Veridian, the moment she'd faced Nathan Pierce and spoken a truth that refused to stay silent. "You can have all the money in the world, sir, but it doesn't buy respect." Those words had been a spark igniting not just a viral moment, but a shift in how she saw herself. She wasn't just a waitress, a single mom scraping by. She was a voice, a force, someone who could change things. The respect rising offer sat heavy in her mind. It was a chance to give Lily a better life, to advocate for workers like her, to turn pain into purpose. But it meant stepping into a world she'd never imagined, speaking, traveling, being seen. Emma traced her finger over a photo of Lily in a borrowed tutu, smiling wide. She had always taught her daughter to stand tall, to dream big. Now she had to do the same. The lesson was clear: courage isn't loud or grand. It's the quiet choice to speak when silence feels safer, to demand respect when none is given. We all have that power tucked away in moments we don't expect. Emma's story reminds us that one sentence, one stand can ripple outward, touching lives we'll never know. So speak your truth, however small it feels. It might just change the world.